Shiv Sena leader Priyanka Chaturvedi putting out a tweet as well to this regard, saying that this is, and I quote, she says this is playing with the lives of passengers. Repeatedly been raising this with the minister, with the aviation secretary. Don't know when they will rise to the occasion and avoid a major mishap waiting to happen, unquote. We'll get aviation experts to join us. In fact, we do have those reactions from some of the passengers, I believe. Do we have those reactions right now that we can play for our viewers? Dramatic emergency landing caught on camera by India today. Dramatic landing. We've got that on camera, as you can see. One of the wings has caught fire, and this is the emergency landing visuals running on your screen. 185 passengers on board, safely evacuated, averted the mishap. SpiceJet flight in Patna catches fire upon takeoff. It was on its way here to the national capital in Delhi. There is a suspected bird hit, but the plane's technical faults are being probed at the moment. Wing blades damage, smoke is being seen as well. We'll get you an aviation expert to decode this in just about a bit. I also am requesting our producers to get Paulami Saha on the phone line on this story. She tracks the aviation space just to understand whether SpiceJet has put out a reaction or a clarification or not, because this was like risking a 185 passengers who thankfully have been evacuated safely, but their lives were at risk for 25 whole minutes, as one of the passengers mentioned to India today. For 25 whole minutes, they did not know what was going on, and they did not know what fate had in store for them, because the minute and the second they took off, there was something wrong, according to the passengers we spoke to, because the flight was not really taking any kind of height. It was not going to a height, and there was fluctuation as well that you could see in the lights in the flight as well, and that's the point of time they knew there was something off. But when some of the passengers on one of the sides looked out of the window, they saw the fire. They knew the plane was on fire. The wing caught flame, and the pilot got on his feet and requested for an emergency landing, got the clearance and made the emergency landing just about in time. It was a close shave. All right, we're getting some reactions. Listen in.
अभी फ्लाइट में होगी तो कोई क्यों फ्लाइट को उसको लेके जाएगा? पायलट की अपनी जो उसकी अपनी भी तो जिंदगी है, उनके अपने सब पैसेंजर्स की, उनकी सबके की जिम्मेदारी है पायलट एंड कमांड के ऊपर, तो ऐसा नहीं होता है। ऐसा क्या जानकारी कैसे मिली आपको? एयर ट्रैफिक, मुझे तो एयर ट्रैफिक कंट्रोल से जानकारी मिली। मुझे एयर ट्रैफिक कंट्रोल से। क्या यात्री सब सुरक्षित? सभी सुरक्षित यात्री, सभी यात्री सुरक्षित।
तो देखिए, चलिए, तो हमारे साथ पटना एयरपोर्ट के डायरेक्टर मौजूद हैं। डॉक्टर साहब, ये घटना क्या हुई, कैसे?
Paulami Saha is now joining us for the very latest. She tracks the aviation space. Paulami, many questions are arising, and we're not going to sit here and speculate what happened right there. But you know, before a flight takes off, and this is a question on every viewer's mind today, that there has to be a pre-flight checklist that every airline, every flight follows. If you could just tell us what it is, because that will sound very reassuring, and whether or not this flight had the pre-flight checklist conducted or not.
Well, Chetty, we are still awaiting details from SpiceJet. We've been in touch with them. They are, of course, going to, prepare an incident report based on conversations with their pilots after the flight has now landed back at Patna Airport. But very preliminary information suggests some sort of a technical fault which the aircraft experienced after takeoff from Patna, as it was Delhi bound, and immediately after being alerted to the same, of course, there are some reports that locals saw some sort of a spark or fire in the aircraft, which they then reported immediately about. Airport officials, in fact, at Patna were alerted to the same as well when they got in touch with the pilot, and the aircraft was, in fact, asked to make an emergency landing in Patna, which it did. All passengers are safe at the moment, but that preliminary report is something that is awaited at the moment. But this is definitely a very disturbing incident and something which has to be taken extremely seriously because it obviously jeopardizes the lives of the passengers on board. Over 180 passengers that were on board this aircraft. So this is something that obviously the DGCA will from the airline as well on.
Absolutely. A statement from SpiceJet is awaited at the moment, Polemy, or have they put it out?
No, Chetty, a statement is awaited. Like I said, they are in the process of getting an incident report from the pilots on board the aircraft. And of course, they will have to, speak to their aircraft maintenance team as well on the ground as well to determine what exactly caused this incident after takeoff of the aircraft. So we're waiting for further details from SpiceJet, but from having spoken to our sources within the airline at the moment in order to gather some preliminary details, what we've learned is what they're calling at the moment a technical fault, and what is exactly the technical fault, in which part of the aircraft was that fault detected. All of those details which are awaited at the moment.
You know, there are a lot of conjectures doing round, one of them being a suspected bird hit. How true is that?
No, again, that is something we've not heard officially from the airline about. They're only describing it at the moment as a technical fault. Whether it was a bird hit, then obviously something that the airline is not exactly culpable for. You know, it's an incident that happened in the air, and it had to take immediate, remedial measures at that point of time. So whether it was a bird hit or whether it was a technical fault, what they're saying is a technical fault in the aircraft. So they're admitting that there was some sort of a glitch, because of which they had to, of course, land back and make an emergency landing at Patna Airport. But again, the nature of this technical fault, so to say, or glitch, is yet to be ascertained.
Viewers' knowledge, before every flight takes off, is there a check that is done before every order, or is it done once a day? How does it work?
Obviously, it is part of the protocol. It is part of the SOP. Before, of course, the flight takes off, there is a whole aircraft maintenance team which is on the ground, which is at at the base as well, which will, of course, before there are checks and balances that obviously are part of the procedure. It's part of the SOP that before a flight takes off, you tick all of those boxes. So it has to be done. It's part of protocol. So it remains to be seen what is this fault, which was. It's at the end of the day, Chetty, this is a machine you're talking about. A machine can develop some certain faults. Now, is this a fault which remained undetected while the aircraft was still on the ground, or is this a fault which it developed? It's a machine at the end of the day. Like I said, it can develop faults quite suddenly as well. You don't know what has happened. Now, what was the nature of this fault, to be fair, is something that we'll have to wait for SpiceJet to, in fact, inform us about.